Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you all so much for being here. I am so excited to be here today with Natasha Bowen and Namina Forna to celebrate the release of Soul of the Deep. This is the sequel to Skin of the Sea. We're here to talk about mermaids. We're here to talk about badass women, and I'm so excited for it. So thank you, Natasha and Namina, for being here. I'll give a little intro and then I'll hop out and let you guys talk. Natasha Bowen is a New York Times bestselling author, a teacher, and a mother of 3 children. She is of Nigerian and Welsh descent and lives in Cambridge, England, where she grew up. Natasha studied English and creative writing at Bath Spa University before moving to East London, where she taught for nearly 10 years. When she's not writing, she's reading and watched over carefully by Milk and Honey, her cat and dog. Not gonna lie, I would not mind a cameo from Milk and Honey today.
And Honey's so sweet.
Yeah, she's there. She's not moving.
That's totally fine. Namina Forna is the author of New York Times bestsellers The Gilded Ones and The Merciless Ones. She has an MFA in film and TV production from USC School of Cinematic Arts and a BA from Spelman College. Originally from West Africa, she moved to the US when she was 9 and has been traveling back and forth ever since. She now works as a screenwriter in Los Angeles and loves building fantastical worlds and telling stories with fierce female leads. Thank you both so much for being here today. I know it's probably you guys are in Cambridge, so what time is it there?
9 o'clock?
9 o'clock.
Yeah, in the evening.
Okay. Well, thank you for spending your evening with us.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks.
Absolutely. All right, so before I disappear off screen, I just wanted to give a quick rundown of Crowdcast for anyone who is new here today. To the right-hand side, you'll see the chat section. Here's where you can comment and chat amongst each other and show excitement for the books. However, if you have any questions that you want to ask the authors, make sure to not put it in the chat section, but drop it in this Ask a Question box right below. And then about 30 minutes in, we will answer the questions. Finally, make sure that you check out the purchase books here, and you can purchase your copies of these amazing books from the authors. All right, that is it from me. I'm going to disappear, and I will let the two of you talk. And let's see. Have fun, guys.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Hello from Cambridge. I want to say Massachusetts.
No,
I can't do it. I'm just like, hello from Cambridge, England, where I and Tasha are together in person. We made it. Yay.
I know she's squashing me out of the chair, but
Listen, I have like a little booty. Like, I don't know why you're
yeah, but
almost
so do I. But
Okay, I'm gonna move a little bit. Fine.
Yeah,
Like you scooch your little. I mean, you'd think this is your chair. You'd think you'd be more. Anyway, so hi everyone. I'm so excited to discuss this book because I was here last year when the first one came out, and I'm here for the second one back in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Okay, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop. All right.
she's basically imprinted on me,
Yes.
like in Twilight.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. How did we meet again? We met online, right?
We met 'cause we're talking about agents.
Yeah, we met online. And
No, it wasn't even
then-
online. I called you.
No, but we've seen each other on Twitter. Okay, I have the memory of a goldfish. You're supposed to be helping me out here.
I am. I'm telling you.
Okay.
We met because of agents, and then we've stayed in touch,
Mhm.
and we have actually become friends. Hence, you being here now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm here in this cold. In the cold.
She's braved the cold.
I braved the cold. And it was raining too. But I'm here.
Yeah, welcome to England.
Welcome to England. All right. So I'm so excited to dive into this book. But first, we need to talk about Skin of the Sea so that they know where to start from. What is Skin of the Sea about?
So Skin of the Sea is about Simi, a girl who's been turned into a mermaid. She's been remade in Emojis' image. So
Who's Yemoja?
Yemoja is a goddess who is said to have left the rivers and streams to follow the first enslaved. And some say she offered comfort, some say she wrecked the ships, but in Skin of the Sea, she's created 7 mamiwata in order to help return the souls of anyone who dies in the sea home.
What is a mamiwata?
Mamiwata is a water spirit. Different versions depending on who you're talking to. In Skin of the Sea, they are more benevolent rather than scary. And yeah, I see them as a representation as half woman, half fish, similar to Yemoja. And yeah, their job is to guide the souls of those who die home.
So basically mermaids.
Basically mermaids.
Okay, so we talk about mermaids.
We're talking about mermaids, black mermaids specifically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Important in this
hundreds
time.
and hundreds of years ago.
Important in this
before
time.
the Little Mermaids. Yeah.
What spurred you to write about mermaids? Like, let's start off there, maybe.
I think I loved fairy tales growing up, and I loved the Little Mermaids. I don't know if I should be looking at this screen.
No, you should. Okay, look at the screen. Look at the people. Look at the people.
So yeah, I love fairy tales. I love mermaids specifically, and I love the Little Mermaid. But and I love books. When you're reading books, when I was reading books growing up, I didn't really see. No, not that I didn't really see. I didn't see any with characters that look like me, and I certainly didn't see any black mermaids. And I think that it's really important to have that representation of us as being magical creatures. You know, so that freedom of something of seeing us in something fantastical and magical. And I think there's definitely been a lack of representation of that across all medias. So
we're going to circle back to this mermaid question. You know we are.
We will.
We will.
I've done the politician's answer.
Okay. All right. So, so you told us about Skin of the Sea, which, have y'all read this book? It's an amazing book. I really, really enjoyed it. But we ended with Skin of the Sea on sort of like a cliffhanger where our main character, Simi, how do you pronounce her full name? How do you pronounce it fully?
Simidele.
Okay, because I'm like Simidele. You know, I want to like put the African, like, y'all know I'm African, right? Like from Sierra Leone, West Africa. Anyway, but so we ended with like Simi in sort of like a tough spot.
We didn't. I don't want to spoil it. I know some people.
That's why I said. That's why I said tough spot. Like
tough
I didn't
spot.
say anything.
Yeah, tough spot. Yeah. And some people hated the ending. I like dramatic endings.
No, that was
hence the ending because I write what I want to read. And yeah, so the second book, she's in an even tighter spot to begin with. And you know, you have ever had that feeling where you're trying to sort something out, but everything you do seems to make it worse. Yeah, that's book 2 basically.
That's not giving me a lot.
It's not really actually. So she sacrificed a lot. Skin of the Sea, she sacrificed a lot to save everyone else. And then in Soul of the Deep, you see her in a difficult position with more choices to make, being forced to ally with people that she didn't think she would have to or ever see herself allying herself with, learning more about herself as well from having to do that. There's more of Collar in the book as well. I'm not going to say what happens between them because I was telling you earlier, I found it difficult to write about those two because everyone wants a happy ending and I want a happy ending as well. But I also want to show, I want to show more than just that.
Yeah.
So I hope there's more depth to them in this book.
Okay. It's almost like me trying to pitch The Merciless Ones, where I'm like, I can't really tell you what the book is about because if I do, then I ruin book 1. Anyway. All right. So, tell us about your main character. Like if people haven't read the book, tell us who Simi is.
So Simi is a girl / mermaid. So she's not human, but she's not entirely. She started off as human, and she's been remade as a mermaid. And I think we see her struggling. We definitely see her struggling with that. And I think that aligns perfectly with teenage years and also like throughout your life, because I think, you know, a lot of people are always changing and there's a struggle of whether to do the right thing, even if it's the wrong thing in other people's eyes, the consequences that come with that. There's struggling with how people see you and the relationships that you have with them based on that. Whether, you know, I think sometimes we find it hard to be our true selves with a lot of people. And I think we definitely see that in Skin of the Sea. And in Soul of the Deep, I think Simi comes into her own more. She has a stronger sense of self and what she wants and what she doesn't want. And I think she's come to peace with a lot of things. But weirdly, sometimes coming to peace with one thing ends up throwing questions about something else. So I think both books show her journey and that is mirrored in most of our lives with how we're always changing and always seeking clarity, or new friendships, new relationships, trying to do the right thing for ourselves and everyone else around us.
And what about the other characters? Like, give us a couple of the main characters, like what's going on, or who do you want to talk about? How about that?
So in Skin of the Sea, we have Simi, we have Kola, we have Bem and Yinka. So Yinka was in a tight spot in Skin of the Sea.
Oh yeah. Because she discovered things about herself.
She did. My book seems to be a lot about discovering things about yourself. I think that's important.
But isn't that teenage years?
It is. But I think it goes into adult years as well.
You discover you're a pescatarian.
Yeah, or not.
Or not.
Like we were saying earlier. But,
yeah.
I think in Soul of the Deep, we have the same characters apart from one character from Skin of the Sea that everyone keeps shouting at me about.
Did somebody not make it?
Somebody didn't make it.
Oh, damn.
So obviously they're not in Soul of the Deep. For those people that were saying, but are they? Perhaps they're still. I'm like, no, they're clearly not. We're introduced to two newish characters, definitely one new, and then another new character.
Which one are you most excited about that you could tell us about? Pitch your most exciting character.
I think I'm more excited about Folashade because she's that annoying person that's always quick to tell you. When you've messed up, and there's always one of your friends that's quick to sort of point out again how you've messed up. Oh, remember you did that, and then you did that, and then that happened. You're like, yeah, I know, thank you.
Is that really a friend though? If they're eager about it?
Not if they're eager.
Yeah.
I think in Folashade's case, it's wanting to make sure that you know that, so you don't, so you know that and you don't do it again.
Okay.
So I think we see her briefly in Skin of the Sea, but in Soul of the Deep she comes back, and I think she's there she's chastising her a lot, but she's there also to support and almost like when people take the role of like an older sister, I think you would see her as more protective. And I wanted to have, when I read... Oh, bless you.
Thank you. I did get my shot, my booster.
Maybe you should have been on like Zoom somewhere else now. So I think that I'm excited about her because she brings a different dimension to Simi as well. I'll try not to ruin things. I thought about when I finished writing Skin of the Sea, I thought about what I would want more of if I was reading that book, and I would want more mermaids. So Soul of the Deep has more mermaids, maybe the same amount of violence.
Is Folashade a mermaid?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
She is, and so
So do we get more underwater?
In the beginning, you do, and you see. So in Skin of the Sea, Umoja created 7 Mamiwata, and you get to see all of them in Soul of the Deep, in quite a powerful way. I won't ruin it, but in quite a powerful way. And I loved writing that scene. I think I love writing fight scenes too much as well. Yeah, but you do that as well, don't you?
Violence.
Yeah.
Violent person.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always the little ones.
That's why we're friends.
But you were telling us about...
The character?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and then there's another character. It's an old friend of Simi's, and her name is Ara, and I think she's quite funny. And then you see the way that trauma affects different people. So obviously you have Simi, and the reason why she was remade was because she was enslaved. And then you have her friend who was with her when they were both captured. And you see the effects that it's had on Ara. And interestingly, Ara she wasn't ever taken anywhere. She ended up somewhere else. I don't want to ruin it. But so you see the dynamics of how the trauma is played up for both of them, but you also see the lightness of their friendship, and the joy at being reunited. So those are the ones that I probably am more excited about. I'm excited about one of the villains of Skin of the Sea that I loved writing. He's in Soul of the Deep, but I just found him so funny.
Is he an underwater villain?
No.
Okay.
No. But he was such fun to write because
why was he fun?
Because you know those interesting characters where they're not the hero in saving everyone, and they're a little bit difficult, and they annoy people, and maybe they're not necessarily always doing the right thing, but yeah.
Those would be the fun ones.
Yep. So it was fun to write his storyline in Soul of the Deep.
I do have another question.
Go on then.
Do we have any more fairies? Remember, like I forgot what they're called, but in
The Yumbos.
Yeah. Do we have any more?
Not in Soul of the Deep.
Well, damn. Do we have any more fairy tale creatures like that?
We do. I'm trying. We were just saying earlier, when you start writing a different book as well, it's like the other books erased, and you've kind of forgotten it. So we do have the Mokele Bembe, which is kind of it's. Sometimes I hate that cheesy, lazy way of explaining it to people, but like the Loch Ness monster,
Is
but
this
African,
the one? Yeah.
but African. And then you have African versions of the undead, and a vicious plant. I don't want to spoil. I keep saying that for the bit, like the origins are in Madagascar. So there's quite a few different creatures inspired by different areas.
Yeah, and I'm appreciative that you say that, because a lot of times people are like African, and I'm like, but you recognize Africa is the largest continent.
Which is a continent, not a country.
There's so many different countries. Like, what's one person's mythology is not another person's mythology, So, like, I'm very appreciative of that.
Yeah, and I think, it's important to be aware of that. And so even when you're drawing on inspiration from different parts, it's not helpful to just say, oh, I was inspired by this, by African culture, because again, I was inspired by European culture,
because like earlier this year I was like in South Africa, and I was like, wow, this place is so different from where I'm from. Learned a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I think that's what I love, learning about different parts and different cultures and different beliefs and different myths. And I think that's something that I love to show in stories.
You're definitely a person who researches. Like, this one takes research to a whole other level. Like, because my research is I watch YouTube. No, actually, I am a very erudite person. And notice like my casual flex of that. That was a very casual way of just sliding that in there, that big word. But that being said, this one loves research and shows her work. So like,
I love it.
Can you tell us about like your research process?
I think for me, it's an amalgamation of everything. It's talking to people, it's listening to stories. It's also YouTube, but it's also books. It's history books, but it's also books that are maybe based in that country or that culture as well. It's looking at images of, even with the book that I'm working on now, is looking at images of Sudan in the 13th century and getting inspiration from that. And because I love history and I'm a stationary geek, I love researching and writing everything down and drawing and making notes.
Y'all should see like you can actually see a little bit of it. She has like Post-its on the wall, and I'm just like, that's a waste of paper, homie.
No, but they're also color coded. That's really important.
Yeah, nerd.
I'm a Virgo as well, so like that makes sense. It's not that actually, I don't necessarily always follow that, but it helps. It makes me feel safe if I know what's coming next, even if I change it.
You could also just, write it on the computer.
No, because then I'm a very visual. I need it. I like it there. And also, what about if your computer breaks? Didn't you break exactly?
Yes,
so
that is true.
You're laughing at me now.
That
it's
is
there.
True. Okay, never mind. I was making fun of you.
Moving on, you can't make fun of me. It doesn't work. Carry on.
I mean, I do like making fun of you, but yeah, no, that is true. I had my computer break for like 3 weeks.
And then, yeah, exactly.
I was like literally trying to write on my phone.
If you had Post-its, you would be fine.
But I wasn't going to write on Post-its. Have you seen my handwriting?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but mine's just as bad. But that helps, I think, because no one can steal your ideas. But you won't be able to steal them because you won't be able to read it.
That's true.
Or some of it you would. But
that's true.
Anyway.
So you were talking about
that's
your
my
research
process. Yeah. So for Skin of the Sea, I was speaking to an Ifa priest who's based in Atlanta, but is from Nigeria. Because it definitely in Skin of the Sea, I think that we need to be mindful of spiritual beliefs and history, and I think in fiction, there's always going to be a change and a twist in things, but I wanted to do my best to represent it as accurately as possible.
Yes, because some of the spiritual beliefs are actually extant. Like this is actually one of like my pet peeves when people quote unquote want to write African mythology, but don't do their research, forgetting that a lot of things that people consider mythology are actually religions that are still being practiced to this day. And you've then quote unquote made something like you've made it, I don't know, into something like like devilish or whatever and added weird stuff to it. Yeah.
So I think it's important to. So when I was speaking to him about, and you know, there were some things that I already knew, but he was giving me a greater depth and understanding, and it's making sure. So I remember saying to him, "Is it like the one I already know?" And I was quite proud of myself because he answered the question, and I already knew that. I said, "Is there anything that I could do that would be, you know, what's the biggest thing that I should steer clear of?" And he was like representing Eshu as the devil, which I already knew anyway. Because I think a lot of African spirituality has been demonized by the West, and to the point where, you know, a lot of my Nigerian friends, like one in particular, I was like, I don't really know anything about Orishas at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
so,
that's all of I would say that's most of Africa. Like even like for me growing up, like I told you about like my history with the Mamiwata. So like where I grew up in Sierra Leone, like I grew up next to a marsh where people said that Mamiwata, like we in Sierra Leone consider her goddess, consider her one being, came to sleep at night. But like people still worship her, but a lot of people like also demonize her, and say like, you know, it's devil worship and all of these things. And this is a remnant of colonialism and our legacy as colonized people.
Yeah, and we're losing those stories and those beliefs
Yeah.
because of that. So I think it's important. So books like this, I think, are important to bring that to people's attention, and so that it can. Yeah, it's just, it gets depressing talking about that.
Yeah.
But I think it's.
So let's talk about something that makes you want to fight. I actually think that your books are really timely right now. Well, they were always timely, but they're especially timely right now, or rather, this conversation is timely given the whole Little Mermaid scandal.
I know.
I would like your thoughts.
And the thing is, I just posted a tweet someone replied to one of. I'm not really on Twitter. I'm just kind of like on and then off.
I'm not on Twitter.
Yeah, I literally go on, check, and then come off maybe for if I've had to post something or if I decide to post something, because sometimes I randomly do. So someone had said, I'm trying to think of the exact words. It was something like, "Oh, Black Mermaid, it's impossible. Black Mermaids are impossible because half of you can't even swim." And
no!
Yeah, didn't I tell you? I did tell you, yeah.
You probably told me while I was writing and I forgot because I wasn't paying attention as I was writing.
So I think having Halle as Ariel is an important step, because I think people forget how a lot of people still hold those racist views. And I think the flip side of that, because I was trying to think of the positive, is that it's come to light. And so, you know, there's no one saying, "Oh, but why is that such a big deal?" Or why, you know, why is that important to have that? Well, that's why it's important to have that, because you still have people talking complete and utter rubbish. So, and I think, you know, we just need to be magical. I just want to, you know, I want to see us in all roles. And I think the fact that you have a fight over whether you can be a mermaid is just ridiculous.
But I also like think that like this whole thing goes back to like I feel like a lot of times there is this idea that like the Western imagination has like, I guess
it rules,
that it rules, and not only that, that it has like a hold on or has created all these different creatures, forgetting that like these creatures, like they have different iterations all across the world. Like where I grew up, like Mamiwata is a mermaid, and we've always believed in mermaids. You know, like that's just a Sierra Leonean thing. A lot of like West African cultures, Caribbean cultures. Like if you live near water, 99 times out of 100, you will believe in mermaids.
Like in
Or
every
some-
culture around the world as well. So
Yeah.
having just that Eurocentric focus on they can only be this, and that's because we've just been bombarded with that over the years.
Mhm.
You know, with red or blonde hair, and that's it. That's the main story that we're presented with. So I think, yeah, that's a problem. So I'm glad we are making our mark a little bit more.
So what's your favorite type of mermaid?
What do you mean?
Like, there's so many different types of mermaids.
From
from
what,
all
wait,
across
do you mean as
mythology.
in like, okay, as in around the world,
Yeah.
or whether they're sirens, or whether they're, you know, vicious mermaids or happy mermaids?
No,
or...
like okay, so I'll go. Like, this is a trick question just because
I
I
know.
wanted to answer this question. My favorite mermaid right now is the Japanese Ningyo. Have you ever heard of that one?
Yes, I have.
It's the one who, if you eat a part of its tail, you become immortal.
Yeah.
Which is very like
And there's a
messed
bit,
up.
isn't there a bit that you will die if you eat the wrong bit though?
Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
you either you
exactly.
die or you become immortal. And there's actually a show, it's an anime I really want you to watch called Mermaid's Forest. It goes so hard, Tasha. It's like an old one. But it's like basically people like eat
Okay.
mermaid tails and either become ravine monsters or they become immortals. But like when they become immortal, like they just like basically having these mermaids like messes up everything. Like if you get into contact with a mermaid, like your life is ruined.
Okay.
It's a great show.
See, I like to think of them as being that, which is why I represent them as that, as
Mhm.
not just like, oh, you know, flapping about in the sea, but I like to think of them as strong and courageous rather than killing people. So I'm gonna say mine's Umoja anyway, because
Yeah.
she's a goddess.
Yeah. I like the carnivorous mermaids.
Yeah. No. I like them to be strong, but not eating people.
Well, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, people.
I mean, I do like zombies, but that's a separate zombie mermaid.
Oh, I don't want to see that. Wait, but although.
But you
I
don't
think
want to see it,
we're-
but then you're like, maybe I do.
Maybe. All right. So, but we're circling back to the book.
Okay.
What was your favorite part of writing this book?
I think people say that sequels are hard, and
Mhm.
I'm not saying I didn't find it hard, but to go back to that world and those characters I love it so much. And it was when we had a mini lockdown in England as well.
Mhm.
So it was one of the things that kept me sane, and it was something that I looked forward to every day. So I think going back to that world, but giving it a slightly different focus was the most exciting thing. And showcasing a few more different stories and creatures, because obviously all the research that I've done could not fit in one book.
Nope.
And it's going to have to go over a couple more as well. So,
was there anything interesting you discovered in your research? Like what's like one thing that you learned that you couldn't fit into the book, but you just want to share?
You're asking me a difficult question because this was last year now.
I thought you had a good memory.
Well, you know, there is one, but I can't really say it because that's book 3 and 4, but it's not attached to that story, so I can't say it. But I would say it's an origin myth in West Africa.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll leave it at that. Alrighty, so we are almost at the 30-minute mark. If you have a question, please drop it into the box. Please, like, just ask all the questions because we're here.
Or we can just carry on waffling anyway.
We can do.
We could do that one. We will be doing that one.
You know I can do that all day.
Yeah.
All right. But what other question? So, is this book a romance? That's one question I wanted to ask.
No, but I think obviously it's an element of it. I think books are what you want them to be sometimes, because I don't think Skin of the Sea is a romance, but I've heard people describe it as that. Because I think you take from it certain things that maybe I haven't even intended. I wouldn't say it's a romance. I would say it's definitely action adventure. But maybe there's a little bit of romance in terms of loving yourself, although that sounds...
No, but I think that's important.
Yeah.
Like, I think so often we focus on, it's a girl and a guy, or a girl and a girl and a guy or guy and a guy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But can it just be you finding love in yourself?
Yeah, and I think there's a continuation of that from Skin of the Sea to Soul of the Deep for Simi in
Mm-hmm.
how she's feeling and how everything's making her feel.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like in Soul of the Deep, she takes a lot of time to work out how she's feeling and why and what she should do about that.
So you mentioned that Simi had trauma. Like, so is the fact that she's like finding love in herself like is that the journey that she's taking? Like, I don't know how to ask this question.
Do you mean in terms of? So I think she's felt different,
Mm-hmm.
And unsure of definitely unsure of who she is.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of Skin of the Sea, her memories are coming back to her over the course of the book. So I think sometimes when, obviously she can't remember much of her life before, so she's struggling with who she is and perhaps how she should act. And so I think by the end of the book, a lot of her memories have come back. So in Soul of the Deep, we see a clearer sense of who she is or who she feels she is and how she should act.
Oh.
So I almost think she's actually stronger in book 2 than she is in book 1 because of that.
Physically, she's slapping people around in the ocean.
She's slapping people, not in the ocean actually. I know she does she does do a little bit, yeah. She doesn't do too badly. Because sometimes, like, my favourite was Yinka in book 1.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly because she's got 2 axes and she can hack at people. But so I think she showed Simi up a little bit, really.
Remind us who Yinka is again.
So Yinka is Colla's childhood friend who grew up in the same village as him, and she's very protective, and so her and Simi don't really get on at first.
She's
and
like, who's this? Who's
she's
this?
like, who
girl?
are you?
Who are you?
Yeah,
who are you?
he's
What are you
like
doing
my
with my
brother.
friend?
So yeah, don't mess him around. So yeah, and she's just generally fierce, but fierce in the way she loves people as well. So she's not cold and fierce, but yeah, I think that's why I like
We always need somebody like that. Also,
Yeah,
like this thingy has been.
It's a
What is it?
Well, it's a crane flubber. Is it scaring you?
Yeah, that is a big bug, y'all. Y'all don't see this. Like, what is it? Oh, why are you trying to touch it?
I'm trying to save you.
What is it? Oh God! All right, this too, I will survive. It looks like a daddy. It's like
a daddy long legs.
But a daddy long legs is a spider. It's like a flying daddy long legs. You British people have weird and different bugs. I'm not. No, seriously, y'all have weird and different wildlife. She was telling me about voles. I was like, "What is a vole?"
But we don't have tarantulas or mountain lions or rattlesnakes.
Y'all have foxes.
Y'all
have foxes. I saw a fox yesterday. This thing was like just chilling, like literally, just like it literally like looked at me like was like and just like sauntered.
It was like, "What's up?"
Sauntered. I was like walking.
That's
to
a
the
city
train.
fox, though.
That's a city fox.
Yeah.
It actually looked very well nourished, I must say.
Yeah, because it's probably been eating McDonald's. Just saying, like out the bin.
Like to my understanding, foxes here are like pizza rat.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I see that there are questions, and I'm gonna see if I can figure out how to. Haha! All we had to do is click on it.
Oh,
See?
That's a good one. So I said it was easy. How did you find writing the Merciless ones?
I got. It was difficult. It was a struggle. Book 2 was a struggle. Book 3 was a struggle.
Yeah, but why was it a struggle?
Honestly, it was a struggle because I've been on like skirting the edge of burnout for like the better part of the past 3 years. Like it's been a rough couple of years.
I know. And I've been moaning at you about that.
Yeah. Like honestly, like I wrote I did the rewrites for the Gilded Ones in a year where like my father, brother, sister, and uncle passed all like literally within weeks and sometimes months of each other, and it didn't seem real. So I kept writing, and then came COVID. And I kept writing. And when you don't take time to like sort of sit down and take care of yourself, like it's just sort of cumulative. And so what I learned this year was that I really needed to slow down and take time for myself and to take care of myself. And so that is my plan now, is radical and aggressive self-care. So yeah, I'm going to be loving up on myself.
God, you need to.
I'm going to be taking long baths. I mean, I already do that, but like just, like luxuriously. You're gonna be calling me like Namina, what are you doing?
Are you
and
alive?
I'll be like, I've been in a bath for like 4 hours. It's great, darling. So that's what I'm doing. All right. So
What was our favorite character to write? Did you have a least favorite?
oh, what was it like writing sequels for the both of your? Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I said that mine wasn't. It was challenging, but not really.
Yeah, no, for mine it was like every like writing, and you know what's the funny thing? Okay, this is my toxic trait, right? It took me like 3 months to write the first 200 pages of my book. It took me 2 weeks to write the next 200 pages of my book.
It's just getting into it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Once you get in, and that's what I'm saying. Lockdown helped because I couldn't do anything else.
Yeah.
And so it was, and also I'm really bad because I have a fear of missing out of everything. So no one could go out or go on holiday, and I couldn't be tempted to go with them. And so I just wrote.
I think for me it was like with like how fast it took for the last 200. It was basically desperation because I had things to do. So like
You were a deadline.
I was on deadline, so I was writing 20 pages per day, and once I hit one time, I was only able to do this once. I once wrote 40 pages in one day.
Wow. Did they make sense? Did you like them?
No, they didn't make sense.
Okay.
They did make sense, but like I was just like the next like that evening I was like, what did I do? I was like, I'll never do it again. It's just that is not a sane thing to do, and I'll never do that again. I've learned my lesson, but I did get it done. Let's see.
Favorite character
to write. Who's your favorite character to write?
Eshu.
Mm-hmm. Why?
It was Yinka in Skin of the Sea, and it was Eshu in Soul of the Deep.
Why?
I think they're both complicated in different ways, and mainly because Yinka fights, and I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I like that viciousness. And Eshu is, I just like the fact that you just can't really trust him,
mm-hmm.
and he doesn't really care. He does what he wants, and yeah, I love that.
The good ones.
Yeah. What about you?
So my favorite, I have two. So I really liked writing White Hands, who's like the mentor figure in my books, because she's like your cool older auntie who's like slightly, well, not slightly, very much dangerous. Like you're like, she's very sexy, but I'm very scared of this woman. So I really liked writing her and her backstory, and I always like writing Britta because Britta always like. It sort of like makes every scene lighter just because of her voice. Yeah. Okay. So I like, but who's your least favorite character to write?
Do you know what? I think it was Collar at some points because I was just it was good because I was getting annoyed with him. I was thinking, oh, you're so like, you keep making these mistakes and Simi has to keep coming and saving you. But that was a point of it as well. I wanted it to be a story where we're not just seeing the girl saved by a boy all the time.
Yeah.
And flipping it around.
Yeah, he needs to be saved.
Yeah.
She's the hero. She's the super.
Exactly.
Yeah. Let's see.
How long have we got? Oh, we've got a little bit.
We got time. Was there a character or a scene that you wrote and loved but didn't make it into the final novel? Always.
No.
Really?
No, because I managed to shoehorn that in there and it's staying if I really love it.
Huh.
Yeah. There hasn't been anything that I've left out. I think all that's been cut.
I'm very brutal. Like I will cut. Like I have around like 60 pages of just scenes that have been cut.
Yeah. No, if I love it, it's gonna work in there at some point. I'd be gutted if my editor said this not working. Then I would take it out. But I've managed to keep it.
I just like I'm very brutal. I'm like cut. Can't make this book too long. Cut. Yeah. And like before they even have to see it, I've already taken it out.
Okay. Yeah. No, because I don't tend to write over.
Mm-hmm.
I write quite sparingly and then go in and add what I need. So I've never really had to cut. I've never been told you need to cut your word count down. Oh,
this is my true toxic trait. I always write the wrong beginning. And I will write like 20 wrong beginnings.
Yeah, you told me, and quite long bits before you realized that wasn't the beginning.
Yeah. And not only that, you know what I did with book 3? I wrote like, I finally got to a place where I was just like, I'm just going to just keep it moving from here. So I wrote all the way up to like page 200, stopped, was like, wait a second, this beginning is still wrong. Went back, rewrote it. and then cleaned up like the first 200, and then I wrote the next 200.
Do you know what? My beginnings have stayed the same from the very first draft. Like the first paragraph of both books was exactly the same.
I don't know how
Like
you
give
do
or
that.
take a couple of words here and there.
So where is it that you get stuck? Like, it's like I feel like every one of us has like that thing, like that place that you always get stuck. Where's that for you?
Probably the beginning of the middle, if that makes sense. Like I want to get into the action, but not too fast. But yeah, I don't. But I think that's because I have a bad habit of going over the beginning quite a few times before I'm satisfied and then carry on. But yeah, I don't know. For me, if the beginning comes to me, then the rest of the book does. So I know I've got a friend who writes the end first. That would just be...
Oh, I have a friend who writes things in pieces.
Yeah.
And it is deeply, like, it's just deeply stressful to
Yeah,
watch.
yeah.
Yeah, you know those people. I'm just like, how do you do that? Like, how?
Well, I can't even put, like, some people put, fight scene here. I can't even do that. I have to write the fight scene, even if I put more detail this bit. I can't
just write all the way
Yeah,
through.
no, because it feels... Yeah,
I'm
it feels like it wouldn't flow properly for me.
Yeah, I'm actually sort of in awe of people, but I'm also like deeply suspicious of them.
Well, that they just write fight scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm also deeply suspicious of people who write in coffee shops. Did I ever tell you about that?
I do sometimes, but then I get distracted.
I see. Okay, never mind. I remove my suspicion.
Yeah, no, I guess because then everyone's, you like someone might come and talk to you or something,
I know,
and
right?
I don't have to write. So yeah.
And I'm just like, sir, why are you talking to me? All right. So Tosh, will there be a third or more book in the series?
I think there will be. Not at the minute. I'm working on something new at the minute, but I would like to write another book set in that world. Another couple of books actually. I'm focused on the Yumbos and Yinka. Those are the two main ones that I would love to write.
I feel you.
Yinka needs her own book, really. Yeah.
So, do you have any books that you love or books that inspired you to become a writer? Watch, I'm going to have a British accent very soon.
I know, that wasn't British, though. I'm just...
No, that was just me being pretentious. Like, let me have my enjoyments.
I love so many books. I hate these questions. I hate that question because, sorry, I don't hate that question. I just find it really hard to answer it because I love so many books. My favorite ones in the last few years have been The Gilded Ones. You know, I have to say that. Otherwise, yeah.
Otherwise, I will stab her. I'm sleeping at her house tonight. I'm stabbing you in your sleep.
The Gilded Ones, definitely. I think I like the fighting as well. That's probably bad to say that.
Yeah.
The fight scenes are so well written, and I love plot twists and the fast pace. I love Catherine Arden's books, The Bear and the Nightingale. I love historical fantasy as well. I don't really read many contemporary books, actually. I loved Jasmine Ward. I read too many. You've seen how I've got my own new...
No, like her library is insane. I thought my library was, yours is considerable.
Yeah,
considerable.
It is.
All right. So what's the other question? Let's see. Is there one particular character of yours that you most related to?
Yinka.
Why?
Yinka.
Yeah.
Because I think I'm quite like that. I can be quite... If you're like with my children or if you're close to me, that's it.
Yeah.
You're never going. I'm never letting you go. And I'll protect you at all costs. And I think... But it might be quite hard to get to that point with me. But once you do, that's it.
Yeah.
So
what about you? You're discerning.
Yeah, I am. But then, that's it.
Yeah.
What about you?
I'm like that with my dog. You cross Niffy, you say anything about my dog, you're dead to me. Dead forever. Like literally I'll be, you don't like my dog? Okay.
Wait, I like this question. It's quite interesting. What's more challenging? Fight scenes or romance scenes?
Romance scenes. Because I love stabbing. I really like ending people in brutal and horrific ways. Like it's like, you know what it is? I think that And I also think that it's the Gilded Ones. It's the series is more a stabby series than it is a romance series. Like
definitely.
the romance is incidental.
Yeah.
Because more so the romance it's between my protagonist Deka and her friends. And yes, she has like a love interest, but that's more incidental to the plot. The plot is more her and her friends. And so this is a stabby series of books. I think when I set out to write a romance, it'll be different. But I think also fighting will always come easier to me.
See, I think there's a similarity between the two. Remember the fine line between love and hate. I think with fighting and romance, there's so much passion and feeling, whether that's because you hate someone, you're killing them, or because you love them in the way that you're behaving. But I think romance is harder. Well, actually, fight scenes are hard not to make too gory. Like some of my fight scenes in Soul of the Deep were edited because they were too gory.
Oh yeah, mine too.
Yeah.
I'm always getting edited.
Them down.
Like my editor's always like, Namina,
this is young adult. And I'm like, oh,
what? I'm like, this is why I'm going to write adult.
Yeah.
So I can be, like, I feel like I'm just going to walk in and be like, yes.
And the thing is romance as well. I think romance can be tricky. Because people talk a lot about insta-love. But let's be quite clear. People do fall in love very quickly sometimes. I watch Love Island. And also I remember what it's like when
But is Love Island love?
Love as love is today.
Lust and infatuation. And
I think there's different levels of love, isn't there? You always have to start at the beginning level of love, and part of that is lust and infatuation. And then if you fall in love with them or things click into place, it becomes deeper.
I haven't watched Love Island, but to my understanding, it is.
And also, I've got teenagers
and make you do it.
No, but teenagers and they're literally falling in love every week. So, whatever love is to them. So. Yeah, they're both tricky, but I've been edited more with fighting. Yeah, which I probably.
I've actually I've been take that back. I've actually been edited more with my romance.
I knew you were gonna say that.
And you know the reason for that is that.
What's the reason?
The reason for that is I actually read romance the most.
Okay.
Right?
I knew this about you.
So when I write my romantic scenes, it like sometimes it gets to a level and my editor is like, Namina, this is a young adult. So she's like, we're just gonna pull it back. And all they do is kiss. That's the thing. Like that's the funny thing is like
maybe it's the way you're describing it.
It's the way I'm describing it. So then people read my books and they're like, it's not that romantic. And I'm like,
it was.
Had you read the first draft, it would have been a different thing. It would have been a different thing. All right.
Oh, I like that one. Because actually, are there any other genres you want to eventually write? So I was on an event and someone said that they were procrastinating by writing another book. And I was like, oh, that's ridiculous. And now I've started to do that, which is probably not. So I've started writing a horror book.
Oh, yeah. Very excited.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to write
romance.
No, because if I wrote a romance like
under a different name.
Yes, you know what? I write it under a pen name. You can read it, and you be the only one that knows. Yes. But I'm very excited to write adult and middle grade. And for adult, I'm very excited to like go no holds barred and just all I want to write. I'm like, y'all go try to edit me, but you will not. I'm this way. I will still get edited, but like, I will still get edited. But I'm very excited to write and just go no holds barred. And then I'm very excited to write middle grade because I just feel like you get to invest in the world a lot more in middle grade. Or maybe that's just my interpretation of middle grade. I don't know. It's like I find there's more delight in middle. Oh, it's the delight.
You're right. I think there's more because I read Scandal Unicorn Thief, and the world is so detailed and so spellbinding that I haven't read many books where that's happened. But also I think it was Philip Pullman that said he didn't write for a particular age. I feel like some stories, the story that I like, this horror one, if it comes out and it's deemed to be adult, then fine, but it might be YA. So yeah, I don't know.
I feel like for me, like because of how I write, like if I write No Holds Barred, it has to be adult.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah.
because I mean, like I've pitched you some things where you're like, you can't, you cannot,
That's not YA.
you cannot despoil
That's
the
not,
youth
yeah.
with these ideas, and I'm like, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna go adult and do this. But this is also, I'm going to write a romance novel on the low.
I think you should now.
I should.
I feel like you'd
I
write
should.
in a month and that'd be it.
I
It's
should.
like,
I mean, I would write some good.
I think it would restore you.
Like, think about
It would
the
restore
ideas that I have. Dang it! If only I didn't write for children.
Well, like we said, you can write for adults just under a different name.
Yes, that's true.
We will not be confined.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So, does anybody have a different question or more
I think
questions?
that's it.
Yeah.
Was there one that we skipped?
Oh, what's next for both of you?
Oh gosh. And yeah.
Yeah, what's next for you? You said the horror.
Yeah, I'm working on something new, and I think that will be a new duology. It will be West African inspired, but I think it will be more fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
As in, I wanted to stay true to a lot of cultural and historical facts in Skin of the Sea and Soul of the Deep.
Mm.
But in this one, I think I'll have a little bit more freedom. And that's something new for me, because usually, like you said, I love my research and I love things to be accurate. I love things to be right. But this one, I think I would wanted to give myself a bit more freedom and make up a bit more. So yeah.
This is why I write fantasy, so I can be like, I made it all up.
Yeah,
like,
that's not like, it's inspired by that.
Yeah. I'm like, what y'all gonna do? Like,
a caveat at the beginning of the book. It was inspired by this, but nothing else.
So I am very excited to write middle grade after this. I'm excited to write a middle grade world. And to have something that's immersive and delightful. And then I'm very excited to write an adult world and have something that's very immersive in another way. I just want to traumatize people, I think. I want to delight them, and then I want to in
the same book, or?
Not in the same book. Okay, so with the middle grade, I want to delight and transport. But so with the adult, no, I don't want to traumatize people. What I want is for them to think. You know the book I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I want there to be like a lot of this is messed up. Let's do something
very
about
conscious,
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why I'm afraid of writing that book. But we'll write it one day. All right. Ooh, I think we have another question.
I don't think we do.
It's 9. What's it? Oh, okay. I can't count.
Let me see if we skipped any.
All right, let's see. But if you do have a question, we have about maybe 7 minutes to go, 8 minutes to go. Equals All right. Well, so while we're waiting on people to ask more questions.
No, wait. I've got a question.
Yes.
So I like this. I keep saying it on everything now. If you could describe your series in 3 emojis, what would it be?
I would describe in 3 emojis. People still use emojis?
Yes.
I feel very old now. I look on Twitter and people don't use.
No.
Okay. All right. So it would definitely be the sword. It would be the sun. There's this one emoji that's like a star and the moon. Actually, it's the star and the moon. It would be that.
Okay. Why? I know the sword, but why the sun and the moon?
The star and the moon, because of all the gods.
Okay.
And then is there anyone that symbolizes friendship or hug?
I don't know.
Maybe
I feel like there's 2 people hugging.
Yeah, or it would be a green heart.
Yeah, I think there's one like that.
Yeah, or it would be a green heart, and I'll say that symbolizes friendship.
Okay.
Yeah. What about you?
It would definitely be the mermaid emoji.
Mm-hmm.
And then the sparkle one, I think, that reminds me of magic.
Yeah.
And then a black heart.
Yeah, like yours.
No, for black love.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
But you knew
I don't have a black heart anyway.
Well, I just wanted to add it in there. Oh, and I see there's a 10.
If there was one thing for your readers to walk away knowing or thinking about after reading your books, what would it be? Oh, that mermaids can be black. That mermaids have been black.
Yeah, that's very real. I think for me, It would be always know that nobody but you can define yourself. And on a secondary note, that this is very that like
Are we getting deep now?
we're getting deep. Well,
I
no,
gave a look.
no, we're getting like I'm trying to figure out how to say this in a plainer way. Because
Okay.
like like sometimes I'm trying to explain something, but then I use too big words when I should use little words, and I always reach for the big word before the little word because that's how I think, and I don't know why I do that. I'm a weird person. It is what it is.
That's why we're
Anyway,
friends.
that's why we're friends. The other thing that I would say is that if your feminism is gender essentialist, maybe
You're
it's not.
doing it. You're doing what you said you weren't going to do.
Okay, like by gender, God dang it. Anyway, like let's just say, basically, huh?
You can be anything you want.
You can be anything you want.
Yeah.
Like, can't nobody tell you who to be or what to be. Like, you're the only person in your shoes. Don't allow people to tell you who and what to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's. Thank you.
Yeah.
I was gonna go down that.
I'm your interpreter.
Thank you. Like imagine in high school, people used to call me a dictionary. They used to be like, "There goes the dictionary." And then I'd be so embarrassed. I'd do it more because then that was like it's like when I get embarrassed, I reach for for me. I see the word and then I like have to go down and find the.
Oh, see, I just went quiet. So I was at the back. I did my work and then I was at the back of the class reading Stephen King behind my textbooks.
Oh.
I'm not putting my hand up. You can put your hand up a couple of times when I was in school, but then after that.
You know what I was reading in class?
What?
Zane. Chocolate flavor.
I don't know how we were allowed to read the book. I read Flowers in the Attic when I was like 11, 12.
This is what we were reading in high school. Like we were passing that book like it was like we were just like trading. Oh my god.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my
but
god.
Yeah.
Do y'all know what I'm talking about?
No, they don't.
No. Y'all don't need to know.
They don't need to know either.
Never mind.
No, but like there are age guidance. There are age ratings on books now, like guidance is there. So I think that's good.
Yeah.
And trigger warnings, which we both have in our books, which I think is essential, really.
Because like I was just picking up any old book and reading it.
Yeah, exactly. And then you